Want to achieve your dream goal? Listen to the tips from the guy who made it happen to himself. I dropped 70 pounds going from a 4X to a 1X in 4 years. I went from 10K to 6 figures without a college degree. You too can get the goals you set. It's time to live your best life now. I'm your host, Tony Woodall, and welcome to Goal Getting Podcast. Hello, goal getters. Welcome to today's Goal Getting Podcast. This is your host, Tony Woodall, and I am so thankful for you coming in and listening to us today. You had a choice of all the podcasts that you could listen to, and you chose ours, and that means a lot to me. So thank you for coming and visiting. I'm also very excited to have our guest today. Kristen Robinson is with us all the way from Hawaii, and Kristen Robinson is the social media head coach of KR Design and is known as the Military Spouse Business Mentor. Kristen helps entrepreneurs with their social media struggles and helps them build their social media presence to grow their email list to launch online. She has a passion for military spouses and helps them build online businesses that create flexibility and freedom within the military lifestyle. As a U.S. Marine Corps military spouse, Kristen started her company, KR Design, to create a business to support her husband's military career while constantly moving from one location to the next. She loves her business because it allows her to do what she loves from anywhere in the world. Kristen, thank you so much and welcome to the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
Great. I'm so glad that you're able to join us all the way from Hawaii. It's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful state.
It feels like a country.
Yeah, I bet it does. It's so far away. It's almost a country, but no, it is a beautiful state. I've never been. As I mentioned last time we talked, my wife grew up there as a child, so we're looking to go back. And again, I want to tell you that I thank you for your service as a military spouse in supporting your husband, and I want to ask you to give your husband a hug and thank him for his service for us, because we definitely appreciate that. And I'm very close to the military and law enforcement. My wife's dad is, he's passed away, but he was a retired colonel with the U.S. Army and went to West Point and is buried there right now. He gave his all to the country, and we certainly appreciate the military in our household. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Now, Kristen, we've talked before about your business, and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Kristen Robinson. I'm the social media head coach of KR Design. And what we do is we help entrepreneurs basically conquer social media, mostly Facebook, by getting the word out there about their business, essentially building their list. So we all know to be online, you really want to build a list of customers, build a good customer base. And the fastest way to do that, most people have found out, is through social media. So we help entrepreneurs do that.
Excellent. Now, you specialize in military spouses?
We specialize in entrepreneurs, but I do have a soft spot for military spouses who, want to start a business, be online, and not go through what I went through, which is every time you move, you got to start over. So I've learned to literally build my clientele quickly at any location I'm at, and I pass that on to military spouse entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah, I think that's with the internet the way it is today, and the technology that we have. It is so much easier for military spouses to get involved with the business and maintain that business. Like you said, everywhere they go in the world, they can basically continue their business that they've created and maintain it as they go along. So I think that's a very big plus for, people that travel a lot, or military, or, any type of career where they're, spouse or somebody's on the road or having to move around a lot. What is the, we're talking about goal setting and goal getting here on the Goal Getting Podcast. When you start working with the entrepreneurs, and how did you get into this line before we get any further with how you do it? How did you get into the line of, social media and working with the, entrepreneurs in your area?
Well, one of the things you find out in business is that you may plan a bunch of different things, but it never goes as planned. So how I got started in social media was I started using it for myself to get clients into my business. And my clients wanted me to teach them how to do it, but I was really resistant. I was just like, I don't know how to teach them. It's complicated. I don't want to do it. And I was at a networking event. I'll just never forget this moment. I was at a networking event, And the host and the person who owned the venue both approached me and handed me an envelope of $500. And the host of the networking event proceeded to tell me that her and a bunch of women got together and that I would be teaching social media classes, 4 social media classes for 4 weeks. So 4 weeks, each one is weekly, $25 a class. So that's $100 per person to take all 4 classes. And then there were 5 people in the series. And then I would do that starting next week from 9 to 11 a.m. for the next 4 weeks on Tuesdays. And that's how I.
So that was just, oh, by the way, you're doing this and you don't know about it, but here's some money. And
it was just shocking. I looked at it and sure enough, it was $500 in cash. There were no checks. It was all cash. We didn't have credit card readers. I hate to say it, back 5 years ago. I mean, we did, but no, not like today. And literally, I mean, that's what happened. They handed me an envelope for $500 cash and said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to teach these 4 things. Good luck. We don't care what 4 classes they are, as long as they're about social media and how to get clients. That's the base. And,
wow.
That's what you'll be doing. And literally it just took off from a rocket. Like then I was known for my social media, classes in person. Obviously I didn't do them online yet,
right.
In person. And then from there, people wanted to do one-on-one work with me. So I started doing one-on-one work with people in person, of course. And then as soon as I got the hang of it, I had a formula, I had a system down. Then I took it online and now I serve, thousands of people online with that same formula and same systems.
That is phenomenal. I mean, just go to a networking event and all of a sudden people come up and because of your reputation of social media and using it for your own business and your own self, that people just basically drafted you to teach them and pay you to do it in the boot. So, that's even better. So to hand you cash, you can't beat that, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So when you impressed them so well, what were some of the things that you were doing with social media that impressed them?
Well, it was the fact that I was able to get not only clients, but also I was involved in my community. That's one thing, I'm always a big part of is being involved in the community. And at the time in the community, believe it or not, there were no business networking events. There were maybe enough networking events to go to once a week, but in this town that was really dominated by military spouses, military veterans, just townspeople, I saw a big, huge need to have another business event. There was just not enough networking going on. And so I didn't know anybody. I was talk about military spouse business life. I just landed in the town. I couldn't really find any networking events. So I created my own. So I got with someone I had just met. She knew a lot of the people in the town, but didn't know how to put on an event. I knew how to put on an event, but didn't know anyone. And we started a networking organization. And the funny part was that she knew all the local people, which was great, but we spread the word through social media. And pretty soon we were averaging about 50 to 60 people. Mm-hmm. We had people coming all the way. This was in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So if you guys know where Jacksonville is, a Camp Lejeune, that's where we were. But we were attracting people as far away as Raleigh, North Carolina, which is a 2-hour drive.
Wow.
So we had people driving 2 hours to come to our event, which they saw on Twitter, registered, and drove 2 hours to see what our event was about. And that's how we started just spreading in eastern North Carolina. Was get people all the way from Raleigh, Morehead City. We had people literally driving, like I said, 2-3 hours one way. Wow. To come to our event because they saw it on social media. And of course, the town loved it because if you're driving 2 to 3 hours for a networking event, you probably need a place to stay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we had a hotel sponsor who would discount the rooms, and it just got really, really huge. Word spread. I mean, we even had companies who were saying, hey, we're going to start a branch in North Carolina. We saw you on Facebook. We're going to send all of our employees there. Is there a monthly membership we can buy? And we're like, no, we just have like a ticket. They're like, well, we want to buy like 10 tickets every month for our employees. How do we do that?
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
I don't know. So literally when people saw that I just came out of nowhere, I started this event, it started just growing rapidly. and the town and everyone was benefiting. Like I said, hotels were getting filled nights that they normally wouldn't get filled. People locally were doing business with people in Raleigh, which hardly ever happens. So as people sought to see the benefits, and they were like, well, how are we getting all these people? That's like, well, Kristen's doing the social media. She's doing all the marketing. And so people were like, okay, you need to do my business. Because if this is just an event that happens once a month, imagine what you could do for my business. So I need to hire you.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Just being involved and just doing things where I could help, and, not only doing it for myself, but anybody I saw in need. It just spread the word locally very quickly that I was the one who could help you with social media in your business.
Mm-hmm. Now, what types of social media platforms were they mostly interested in that you were doing, or what were you focusing on primarily?
To this day, it's always been Facebook. From
Really?
day one, it's always been Facebook. Even today, it's still Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, people, that is the number one platform I get the most asked about is Facebook.
Now, why would that be, do you think? Is it because of, just the community that gets, built around Facebook, and you're dealing with, obviously in the military community, it's a community in itself. Is that because they are avid or on Facebook more than other social media platforms?
Well, I think it's number one, Facebook is just the biggest platform out there. Like if you look at if you could compare Facebook to a country, it would be China. Like Facebook population actually outnumbers China right now. So it is huge. And I think also what kind of spurred it even quicker for us was when we did this monthly networking event, we only did Facebook and Twitter. That was it. That were the only two things we did.
Really?
I didn't do anything else. And the thing was, out of the two, Facebook seemed to be working the best, not on a local and non-local scale, whereas Twitter drew in a lot of people who were non-local.
Right.
So
okay.
With everyone seeing the results of local and non-local coming from Facebook, and a big percentage of that, it just spurred everyone locally to say, look, I need you to work with me. And then, of course, as that grew, then Facebook started to grow and offer more features, and people couldn't keep up with it. So then it was like, well, Kristen, now I need to hire you, or when's your next Facebook class so you can tell me what's updated and what's different. And so because everybody knows Facebook changes so rapid and so quickly, to keep up with all the changes, terms and conditions, what's what, people just started relying on me. And, and of course, then you got your blog and the other things that you do. But people would just really come to my blog, come to my website, or just ask, when are you teaching a class, so you can keep me updated and so I can stay fresh on Facebook with what I'm doing and still learn all the cool methods to get clients in my business.
Yeah, I know Facebook is very confusing to a lot of people. It seems so easy, but like you said, they change things constantly, both their algorithms for marketing as well as just the options that they offer. I was actually creating a Facebook group the other day for goal getters, and all of a sudden it added a sales function that I wasn't expecting in there, and there wasn't a way to get out of it. So kind of, I don't want to sell stuff in our group, but it put it in there. And luckily today I found a way to, or this morning, I think I found where you could get out of it. But it wasn't there 2 days ago when I started setting this up, and it was something new that they said, oh yeah, we're putting this new feature in there. So, it does change quite frequently. And I saw something today. There was a new announcement from them about a new thing for messaging businesses or something. Are you familiar with that? I saw something online, something today about some announcement about that. So,
well, you could always message businesses through Pages, so I wonder what it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't follow. Just supposedly something new again with Facebook. So it does take somebody like you who, because of all these changes and because of sometimes the complexity, to have somebody who's up to date on these things and who can keep that straight with businesses. So I think that's a great tool. So what, you talked mostly about, you said most of the business that you were getting was local business?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, local business is very important, especially in smaller towns and things like that. I was very active in local community in Atlanta, Georgia area where I'm from. So I'm definitely aware of that. So you think that you work with that and Facebook is a good tool for the local business?
It's good for any type of business. I always tell people Facebook is the most complicated social media platform to learn. So if you can get like 50% through it, or, even 75% mastery, you're probably good to go for anything else that gets thrown at you social media wise, because it is complicated. There's so much to look forward. There's things that are, I think what makes Facebook complicated, there are so many things that are not intuitive as opposed to other platforms. And so if you can figure it out intuitively, I mean, unintuitively, whatever the opposite word of that is, then you could pretty much figure anything else out, because everything else is way simpler than what Facebook gives you. So, but yes, locally, and I think that's another misconception that's getting pushed to the side lately, is people always think Facebook's for people who help people make money, or Facebook is for people who want to get out there nationally, internationally in the world, and I don't need to use Facebook. But so many people locally are finding such great success in getting people to come back into their stores, or coming back and rehiring them for services in their business locally, that I think that's just I hate to say an old wives' tale if you're a local business. Well, Facebook won't work for me. I don't think you hear that as much anymore. Maybe if a business is like 25 years in business, you might hear from someone, but most businesses know that you do need a social media component, whether you're local or non-local. You need that part of your business. It's too expansive, and you miss out on too much not to have it.
Absolutely. And I'm a very big proponent in businesses becoming a social business today. I was doing a session with the new hires today at our company and was talking to them that, the world is just a social business or a social place, and you've got to be adept at social media in any business these days. So, Facebook being a great tool for those. So what is the, when you're working with a client, what are some of the things that you recommend before they talk to you, or is there a process that you follow?
As far as Facebook, or
as far as marketing on Facebook, anything that that you have them that you recommend for them to get started on Facebook?
Well, it's funny because this goes aligned with what your show is about. You need to have business goals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know that sounds really weird, but the number one thing I find is when I start working with someone is I'm like, okay, so why Facebook or why Pinterest or whatever you picked? Why? And 90% of the time is one of these two answers, or a similar theme is, well, someone told me to, or I see so much success on it, so I decided to jump on. And I'm like, it's not a good answer.
Right.
Your answer should be, I wanted to reach, 90% of my clients. There has to be some type of goal, because in order to use social media effectively, you got to know why you're there. And you don't know why you're there if you don't have a goal or something specific in mind that you're trying to reach, aka a goal. So if you don't know where you're going, it's kind of hard for you. If you don't know where you're going or what you're heading to or what you're striving for, it makes it really, really difficult when you're trying to create the content, the stuff you need to post. It makes it really difficult of, deciding what to post, when to post, what to post, or those days where you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, this didn't work out. And you're like, well, why am I on this again? Like, it makes it, I find it now, like I said, I've done social media for almost 4 years now, and it's the same thing with every client. It doesn't matter if they're making, multiple six figures, or they're just starting out. If they don't have a goal, I find it so much harder to work with them. And then we have to go all the way back and go, okay, well, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do in business this year? And how are you trying to do that this year? Okay, well, how does social media play into the part of your plan or your goal? And I just have to go all the way back. And it really does take them 3 steps back if they don't have a goal in mind of what they want to do in their business.
Okay. Now, once they know what they want to do, what are some of the steps that they would go to define a marketing program on Facebook? I mean, Facebook's huge, as you said, as big as China. How do we go out and find people, to advertise to or to market to in Facebook?
It really depends. Like I said, it depends on the goal. Like for some sophisticated people, if they want to do, let's say they want to launch a product or a program online. Well, they have a lot of options. Of course, they can do Facebook ads. Obviously you want a business page. I mean, every business should have a business page to start with anyway. But you want to have a business page. You want to post consistently. No matter what that number is, start out with 1 per day, go to 2 per day, whatever that may be for you. And then of course, the more you start, getting a following and getting likes, and depending on what your goal is, then you got some options. Like I said, if you want to launch, then you can start looking at Facebook ads. If you're just starting out and you don't have the money for that, well, then you might want to start leveraging Facebook groups and also, start working on your page a lot more to get more likes and things like that to market your page. So depending on what spot you're in, it all kind of comes back to the business page. But as you start looking at what do you want to do and how fast you want to take it, I guess is the other thing, then you have other Facebook options, quote unquote, to look at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So having a Facebook page is important for business on Facebook, obviously.
Yes, it is.
Now, what's the difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page for those who aren't Facebook savvy?
Oh, good. That's a very good question, actually. So a business page is basically everyone can see what you're posting, which is awesome as a business. So you want to see people who can post. And it's really also cool because you can make your own custom URL. So you could be facebook.com/your business name. And people can put that in and they can find you, which is really super neat. Or they can put in the search and find your business, which is really, really cool. Versus a group, you're getting a gathering of people together and it's like a closed area. So, it's a group. You can allow people to come in and out depending on what preferences you set your Facebook group to. And not everyone can see what you're doing. I mean, there are preferences where not everyone can see who's in the group. Not everyone can see what you're posting. It's just the people in the group that have the access to that information. So
Gotcha.
That's the differences between a group and a page.
I gotcha. So you could have a group, for example, of, VIP clients or, members that, for a certain area or something like that. I'm trying to think of what could be, for a group, for a business that wanted to, market on Facebook.
Right, exactly. I'll give a great example. So I have my Facebook business page, KR Design, but because I have a soft spot for military spouses, I've created a special group for them called the Military Women in Business Community. And it's a closed Facebook group with me and my military spouse entrepreneurs. So
Gotcha.
That helps.
Yeah, and that helps build your client base as well as, close network. A community essentially is what it is. And, that's important, I think, in, all businesses, especially local businesses, if you can build that community of people who like and trust you and hang around with you in that kind of a group, it certainly would help, I would think. So.
Yes, it's great because, like I said, the group allows us to be closer, and I can post stuff in there that, because I serve entrepreneurs and there's some things military specific that, they just wouldn't really understand. It'd be kind of awkward. It'd be like, wait, what? I don't get it. Versus my community, I can say those things. I can say, hey, you guys, military, this event's coming up or this is doing this, or for military spouses, this is something you want to look at, which, on my page, I can't really post that because that's kind of like for everybody. But for my group, it's this specific type of community that I want to be close to and that I want to build.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good. So that's good for you goal getters who are in business and are looking at that. You might think about, definitely having a Facebook page, but potentially having a Facebook group to go along with that, for any various reasons. One, like you do with a group of people who are, military entrepreneurs or military spouse entrepreneurs or whatever. So it kind of narrows that down to a focused group of people so that you can, it sounds like, offer special things to them that you wouldn't to the rest of the, the not normal, but that's probably not the word.
The outside world of my community.
Yes, the rest of the world that are not within that community. Yeah, exactly. So that's great. So if, what are, again, we're talking about how to, set goals. What are some of the goals that somebody needs to have, or some ideas or plans that somebody needs to do if they're going to use Facebook as a marketing tool?
If they're going to use it for a marketing tool, then they really need to look at the overall business goal and then dissect from there. So I'll give you a wonderful example. So I have a client right now who is in the middle of launching an online product or program. And she decided that she wanted X amount of people in this program. Great. So then she was able to work backwards and say, okay, if I want X amount of people in the program, then I need X amount of people to sign up for my free webinar. So when I offer it on the free webinar, they'll buy it. Because a percentage of people, are going to buy when they listen on the webinar. So she's like, okay, well, X number of people need to sign up so they can buy on the webinar. So then that's where she came to me and said, look, Kristen, I need X amount of people to sign up for my webinar. And I said, okay, great. What are you using? She's like, well, I have an email list. I'm like, great. And how many people from your email list usually sign up for your webinar? And she told me, I'm like, ooh, that's not going to reach your number. She's like, no. And I said, well, do you have Facebook, right? She goes, oh, I have a business page. I'm like, fantastic. How many people sign up for your webinar from your Facebook page? And she's like, oh, this amount. I'm like, oh, that's nowhere close. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, so why are you coming to me? And she goes, I want to try Facebook ads. Great. Wonderful. So looking at the math of how much she normally gets from her email list, how many people she normally gets from her Facebook business page, believe it or not, she does no other social media, like no Twitter, no Pinterest, nothing. She only has a business page. That's it. So this makes it very easy. So I said, okay, well, let's look at Facebook ads. Let's look at how many people you need. So I was able to say, okay, from your email list and your Facebook business page, we're going to need these X amount of numbers left because your Facebook page and your email list are not going to cover the number you want. So Facebook ads needs to bring in this amount of people. Okay, well, based on that amount of people that have to come in, I have to make sure your Facebook ad reaches X amount of people because of the click-through rate. If people see the ad, they click through, they sign up for her webinar. And so we were able to work backwards and say, okay, well, if you have to reach that many people, then you need to spend X amount of dollars. And so I said, okay, and that's what we were doing. And believe it or not, we've already surpassed her goal. We smashed it. Like, we've been doing a Facebook ad campaign for 10 days. Today's the last day. So glad. No offense. It's been a long 10 days, but we've done it. It's 10 days and we knocked her goal out of the park in the first 4 days. After that, it was just, how many people can we get? At that point, we were playing a game. Like,
right.
We already got the required amount. Let's see how many people we can get. And we literally doubled the number that she needed. But once again, look at how much backwards work we had to do from her goal. If she didn't even know how many people she wanted in the program and knew how many people had to sign up and dissected it from there, she would have came to me and said, okay, I want to do a launch and I would do X amount of dollars. I'm like, okay, well, great. Well, how many people need to buy? Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Do some division. Okay, well, I need X amount of people to buy. Okay, well, great. Well, how many people need to sign up? Oh, I don't know. And that makes it hard on me as a person who's going to help you going, well, if you don't know how many people need to sign up, I don't know how many people to go for. I don't know what your budget's going to be. And then that's me, the marketer, getting a little bit more stressed, figuring out what exactly you need. So if you know exactly what your numbers are and you can string it together and dissect it, those goals, it really helps. And then on top of that, those goals, I know, and that's a lot, I just said a lot, those goals act as milestones. Because the first day, how did we know that we smashed our goal in 3 days? Because we knew exactly how many people needed to sign up to the Facebook ad. So
right,
then after day 3, it just got fun. It was like, hey, let's just blow, hey, you gave me this amount of money. We definitely smashed it. What do you want to do now? And she's like, I'm like, we can stop running ads. She goes, no, I want more people. Let's go for this. And I'm like, okay. And then 8 days, 7 days later, she's like, wow, we've doubled our goal. Well, we got one more day. Let's go for this number. Now we're trying to go for this number by the end of the day today. So, but if we didn't know what those milestones, those goals where she was trying to reach every step of the way to get to the very big goal, which is X amount of buyers at X amount of dollars, we would have been walking around blindly. So that's why it's so important. You got to know your numbers. You got to know the milestones. You got to know the goals of what you're trying to achieve, because it makes it easier for everyone around you to help you. But then it also makes it easier for you. Like when you've heard a certain goal, you've heard that milestone. It's like, great, I got that one, on to the next thing, and then you'll celebrate and then, on to the next thing. So I hate to say it, in social media, goals are just hugely important. Like you have to have them.
Right. Great. And that's very important here with Goal Getters. We try to talk about goals and having goals set for business, personal, and everything else. And even with every plan that you have in your business, you have to have a goal, and social media included. It's not just something they say, spray and pray kind of thing. You don't just throw it out there. You have to know what you're doing and, how to reach the targets and what your goals are. So, that's very good. Thank you for sharing that, because, again, a lot of people don't know what they need to do when they want to do a marketing campaign through social media. And first step is have a goal.
Yeah, and to add on that, to make it a little bit more transparent, the more specific your goal is, the more money and time you'll save on social media. I promise you. The more specific you are, the more you'll do that, because knowing the amount of numbers she needed, we knew what her budget was. And we knew if she spent that budget, she would get this result. And now, like I said, now at that point, it was just fun. But we knew what her budget was, and she didn't waste any of the money that she was planning to spend, because she knew exactly what she was going for. So that's hugely important.
It is, yeah. And it's tough, especially with budding entrepreneurs who are just getting started. You may have a limited amount of money in your budget, so you want to play it and use it wisely, not, like I said, waste it by, spray and pray. It doesn't work that way. So it's very important to do that. And what are some of the rookie mistakes that, an entrepreneur might make within Facebook and social media marketing?
I think the biggest rookie mistake is thinking they have to be everywhere. They will be like, oh, I need to be on Facebook. Oh, I should be on Twitter. Oh, I need Pinterest. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about Instagram, and I need a Tumblr. And the next thing they know, they've created 5 or 6 social media profiles thinking they have to be everywhere. And now it feels overwhelming to them, because now they're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, Tumblr, Periscope. Like, they're everywhere, and now you have to deliver content to all of those places.
Exactly.
And now you're like, oh my gosh, how do I have time to create content? And then, of course, you're not consistent, and then you're non-existent on some of them, and then it's just a big mess.
Yeah, and that, I think, is key, is you have to be consistent. And if you're spread out that thin, and I know I've made a few of those mistakes myself, trying to be everywhere, at the same time. And it takes time, and you can't really do your business if you're chasing all of those different platforms. So I think it's very important, like you said, to, choose the ones wisely that are best for you and stick with them. And consistency is a key, I believe, as well. So, what's the point of wasting your time if nobody's going to come see you? So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So very good. So that's the rookie mistake. And, I appreciate it. Now, as far as we talked about budgeting and things like that, people may think that Facebook is outrageously expensive, and we don't want to get into, total numbers, but give us some ideas, if you don't mind. What kind of budgets do people need to think about, with that? What is the best method? Is it, Facebook ads, or what, pay per click or cost per click or something like that?
That's good. That's a very good question. Personally, I've seen way more success with cost per impression. The reason being is because you don't need a huge budget to make it work. I think the key about Facebook ads is, I think this is, like I said, my personal opinion. It's worked for me and my clients. But the more people who see your ad, the better chances you are of getting people to click through to whatever you're offering. And like I said, you don't have to have a huge budget. Like, I'm doing a very small campaign right now. It's $10 a day. And her ad is getting seen in front of like 400 people every day, $10. And once again, it depends on who you're targeting and all that stuff, what your ad looks like. There's so many other factors involved, 21 factors involved when you're doing this. But, with this little, I tell people, if you can forego your two, because I know some people do two daily Starbucks every day. If you can go to the store and buy Starbucks coffee for the month, which you would normally use to buy Starbucks, save all your Starbucks money, and put it towards Facebook ads, that's really all you need. If you can put $10 a day towards Facebook ads, you will see some really cool results. Not the massive results you see a lot of these gurus, because they're throwing thousands of dollars at Facebook every day. But the thing is, with as little as $10, you can get a miraculous return. When I first started doing Facebook ads, I spent $10 a day. This was over 23 days. So I put $10 a day, and I started seeing people convert at $2 per person. And I was like, wow. So if you do the math, that's about $5, 5 people per day at $10, which is not bad. I mean, 5 people, not a lot but $10 is pretty good. So then I decided to scale up to $20. And then I started seeing 12 people sign up every day. I'm like, oh, wow, this is cool. Then I did $30. And then I saw, about 20 people signing on. And over about a span of about maybe 7 days, I spent about like $200, but I got like 150 people signed up on my email list.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I said, 20, I was increasing it, and I increased it because I saw, more people signing up. So I just, threw up the budget and said, I want that. But if you think about it, if I just stuck with $10 a day, I got 5 people. In a whole week, that's 35 new people coming onto my email list or signing up for a strategy session where I can sell them to a high ticket program. And if you do the math, 35 people a week, that's 140 people a month. Times 12, think about it, that's over 1,000 new leads for the year. So with $10 a day. So it's really, so you don't need a lot. You just need to be brave and take that first step and say, yes, I'm going to do it and I'm going to commit to it. That's important too.
Yeah. And that's a key there, is committing to it. Again, being consistent with your marketing, being consistent with being out there where people can see you. If you just hit it once every month or something like that, I don't think you'll be successful. At least I wouldn't think so. But, so I think that's key. But that's really a minor amount of expense for, the potential that you have, out there. I mean, it's certainly cheaper than putting, an ad in a newspaper or something like that you may not get anybody to look at, or very few people these days even read the newspaper. But, it depends on your marketing, but I mean, that's my opinion, ridiculously low amount of money to spend to get that kind of a return. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. I always tell people, when you do a Facebook ad, within about 24 to 72 hours if it's working. So first of all, if you just think about it, $10 a day, 72 hours is 3 days. So if worst case scenario, it doesn't work, you only spent $30. If it doesn't work and you can never go back to it again if you don't want to, how many other advertising options can you have where you will know in 3 days if it's working or not, and also for as little as $30? Not that many options are available out there. So I always tell people it's really not as risky as most people think to get out there and try Facebook ads. It's really not.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, goal getters, that's a very key point in marketing. If you're really trying to get your market out there, start a new online business, or if you're trying to get more exposure for your existing brick and mortar business, that's a good way to do that. And again, I used to sell advertising for a weekly newspaper, and it was a lot more expensive than that. And we did good for our clients. But, this Facebook and just the, social media is a great tool today. The internet is great for people because you can do all kinds of things online nowadays from anywhere in the world. All right. Well, Kristen, I appreciate that. Now let's go into a little Q&A round here. I've got some questions for you. So we're going to ask you a couple questions as we go through here. And the first one is habits. Habits along with goals can really, if you don't have good habits, they can mess up your goals, mess up things in your life. And we like to have good, successful habits. What are a habit that you have that helps you in your success?
You know what? It's funny. I never thought of it as a habit, but I think it is I have several accountability partners. I have 2 accountability partners. One I meet with on Mondays for 2 hours. Another one I meet with on Friday, 1 hour. And then I have a group, it's about 4 of us, where we meet every other week for an hour. And it may not seem like a habit, but they hold you accountable to make sure you're doing that thing that you're supposed to be doing. And I think of it as a habit because, I've never missed a meeting with any of these accountability partners, but I feel like if I did, it would just throw me off. But I would say get in the habit of meeting with other people and discussing your business ideas and what you're trying to do. Because in these meetings, we do set goals. They're weekly goals, and they're things that we're to be held accountable for that we're asking the other person to do. So it's a really kind of weird habit. I don't think anyone would think of that as a habit, but that's a habit that I can honestly say has catapulted my business faster and farther than anything else I could have done on my own or done just in general. It's been amazing. And also the perspective of that other person or those other people bring and look at different things of where I'm going in my business allows me to course correct and get on the right path quicker than if I was trying to do it by myself.
Exactly. That's perfect. Thank you. Yeah. I think that is a good habit to have, is have somebody that's, accountable or you're accountable to, and that you also hold them accountable to their goals. And that's one of the things we do teach at the Goal Getting on the Goal Getting podcast is to have an accountability partner. You need to share your information with like-minded people, have somebody who will hold you to the fire and make sure that you do that. Keep you in the hot seat, as we like to say. I have accountability partners that I meet with, myself weekly, and I highly encourage that. I'm in the process of working on getting some more guys together for a mastermind group as well. So I certainly agree with you on that. So that's a great habit. Thank you very much for sharing that. And another thing I'd like to ask you is, what quote hangs on your wall? Do you have a quote or that you use for inspiration, or some sort of saying or anything that, helps inspire you?
Yes. And this is the quote that I love. It's funny. It sits right in front of my face above my speakers. And so I'm just going to read it really quick. It's, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader, by John Quincy Adams. And I love this quote because people just think, well, I'm not an expert. I just started my business. Or, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm just, 1 year old in my business. Well, you know what? In that 1 year, you definitely sure inspired people. You definitely learned more. You did more than you did before. You definitely are dreaming bigger after that first year, and you are becoming more because you started being an entrepreneur. So therefore, you are a leader. It doesn't matter what level you're at. And I love this quote because sometimes I do feel that self-doubt of, oh my gosh, I'm not here yet. I'm not there yet. But then when I read this quote and knowing, wow, I do all of those things, and it says, well, if you do all those things, you are a leader, which means people are looking at you. It makes my day a little bit better.
Exactly. No, I like that quote. John Quincy Adams. I'll have to add that to our goal-getting quote of the day in the near future here. So we'll look for that on there because I like that, and I'll have to put that on my wall as well. I collect quotes from people, and that's one I'll put on my board here in front of me. I like that. We often get to that where we just don't think we're that good, and we've been doing it for however much time, we just sometimes have that negative voice within us and, keeps us in there. Have you ever had any limiting beliefs that have kept you from achieving your goals? And if you did, how did you realize them, and what did you do to change them?
Oh my gosh. So the biggest one, that's a very good question. The biggest one is not doing something. So I've realized that when I feel like I'm not good enough, I won't do it, and I'll self-sabotage myself by procrastinating. So how do I get over that? Well, how do I get over that is literally pushing myself every day to do it. So this client I just talked about, how we're smashing it in her launch. She came to me and said, I want you to do this for me. And this person makes multiple six figures. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to help her? I mean, she makes multiple six figures. Why is she coming to me? And she goes, you have this expertise that I just can't, I know I can make more money, but I need your help. And I won't lie to you, I procrastinated the first 3 days after she approached me. So she paid me, which I felt terrible. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give her money back. Like 2 days went past. I'm like, I'm going to give her money back. I can't do this. And the third day she was like, where's my stuff? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to refund you. She's like, no, you're not going to refund me. You're going to do it because I paid you. So you're going to do it. And so in order to get over it, every day I put a time block in my calendar on Google for 1 hour that said I would work on her stuff. And I was like so intimidated. I mean, my hands are like sweating just thinking about when I did it. And I was just so scared and nervous. And I would send her an email. And the thing is, I'm not going to disclose too much information, but we're talking, she paid me thousands of dollars. And so we're talking, I could have missed out on thousands of dollars. And on top of that, to know how much this has costed me, this is just an example, but I'm just saying over time, you guys can add up how much this would have costed you. I did such a great job, obviously, in the first 3 days, because like I said, we met her goal in 3 days. She started telling everyone how great, she started telling everyone. And literally about 5 days after I started working on her Facebook ads, I got 3 emails in my box saying, I need to hire you. We need to talk now.
Wow.
3 emails. And 3 of those, and out of those 3 people, I just know in my gut, I know one of them is going to come on as a client. So we're looking at literally over $5,000 in sales with just these 2 people. And if I didn't go through it and say, okay, I need to do this. I mean, I need to get over my self-doubt. She's hiring because I have an expertise in this. we're talking over $5,000 I would have lost. And add that at over time as I did that to other clients going, you know what, I'm just going to refund them. I'm not good enough. Or saying, you know what, I'm not even going to try to go for that proposal or get this client because I'm just not good enough. Think about all the thousands of dollars that has added up over the years. And I've just realized it now, forcing myself to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work every day. I'm going to work on something. And now it's not so intimidating anymore. Now this new client, I'm like, I'm going to double that price. I'm going to double my price from before, and I'm going to give her this great value. But going through it, I realized how much great value I've given, how awesome, how valuable my expertise is. I mean, I've saved her thousands of dollars from managing her ads and from keeping her from, going squirrel, and finding other things to do. And it just really boosted my confidence. I'm going to double my price, which is, I can't wait. It's going to be really amazing. But then, and then of course the big aha for me in this is now I have a service that I can easily make six figures from by itself, not anything else I do. And I never thought that could be possible. Managing Facebook ads could give me a six-figure income. But it can. It's one way of making six figures. And so now I'm super excited because not only have I done this for people, but now I'm getting more people because she's telling awesome things about me. But that never would have happened if I didn't smash that limiting belief that I'm not good enough. And so I just want everyone to keep that in mind, that at times you'll think that, but you need to really get through it. Whatever you need to do. I put time blocks in my Google Calendar, force myself to work on her stuff every day. That's up to you how you decide to do it, but you need to figure out a way to get through that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kristen. That is amazing and very inspirational. Wow. Yeah, but it's true. We all have those times where we just don't think we're good enough, and we have to bust through those. And that's a great way to do it. I'm impressed and just excited for you. That's cool. I want to jump up and down here. Because that, when you realize that, when you have that moment where you know that you can do that, it just propels you like you did to success. So, Kristen, that's wonderful. Now, we all talk about reading books and how books have, taught us a lot of things. Is there a book that you would recommend to someone trying to achieve their goals?
Yes. And the book is called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. And I don't know. I can't even tell you how many times I've read it because now the cover looks very worn and thin. But I love this book because it's about, and he really is called Ordinary. the guy's name is Ordinary, and he's leaving the land of familiar to pursue his big dream. And so he comes across all kinds of obstacles, but Ordinary ends up going to the land of somebodies, and he becomes somebody instead of just ordinary. And I love this book because as an entrepreneur, you can easily relate to this. You're just ordinary. Then you have this dream about coming a business and you're leaving the familiar land. Everyone says you're crazy because it's 9 to 5. It's a reliable paycheck. Why would you do that? And, but he's leaving because he has a dream and he won't let go of that dream, and he will pursue that dream, through the challenges, the bullies and everything. And so it's a very short read. It's literally 200 pages. So it's a very short read. But I read this book all the time when I'm just I feel like I'm crashing or the self-doubt voice creeps in. I love reading this book because it always inspires me to go back and go after my big dream and to stick with it. So it's a great book. You'll love it.
Excellent. I've never heard of that one, so we're gonna have that on our show notes page for you, so that if you want to go out and get that, I think it's probably on Amazon, so we'll get a link to Amazon for you folks, so you can get to The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson, and we'll put that on the show notes page as goalgettingpodcast.com/Kristen. That's /Kristen with Kristen. So you'll be able to go out there and find that. Kristen, that's a great book. Like I said, I've never heard of that book, but it sounds, if you can go from ordinary to extraordinary, that's a wonderful thing. So, we'll have to find out about Ordinary and how he does that. So, well, I'm running out of your time, and I don't want to take you because you need to go out to paradise and enjoy yourself. And, so what I would like to ask is, do you have any parting words of wisdom for our audience, out there trying to achieve their goals and get the goals they set? What are some things that you would like to share?
What I would like to share is, just get out there and just do it. You'll never find the perfect time. There will never be the perfect time to do it. So just do it. And what I would like to do is to get you guys to just do it and start with Facebook ads. I have a special gift for you guys. So if you go to myfacebookadsecrets.com, you'll find my Facebook Ad Secrets Guide. And it literally is a step-by-step guide on how to get started with Facebook ads with only $10 per day. And it literally shows you how I did it. So that Facebook campaign I told you about, I got over 200 people, and I was spending $10, $20, and overall it was $200. I literally show you exactly what the text I use, the pictures I use, and how you can do it too. So it's myfacebookadsecrets.com. And it's a free guide for anyone to get started. So at this point, you have no excuses to just do it.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure we'll have that link on our show notes page as well. So you can go out there and get that on our show notes page at goalgettingpodcast.com/Kristen, Kristen. And we will have that out there. So you have a link to that, whether you're on iTunes or on our website, you'll be able to get to it. And Kristen, speaking of that, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to talk with you or, use your services, for example? How would they get in touch with you?
So the best way to do that is obviously at my website, Kristen, Kristen, the letter R, design.com. And then obviously on my website, you want to look at my social media icons. I know that sounds awkward, but if you can get to me through social media, I respond so much faster probably than email. My clients know that. I will Facebook message you back in a heartbeat. But my website is definitely a hub because I want to make sure, there's lots of great free stuff on there, blog posts and things like that on Facebook ads and help you get started in my journey as well as a military spouse. So definitely check out my website, follow me on social media, and you can get in touch with me there.
Great. Thank you so much, Kristen. I'll make sure those are all on the website on our show notes page. So Kristen, thank you so much again for, stopping by.
Oh, you're so welcome. And everyone just go do it. Just do it.
Just do it. I like that. All right. Thank you so much, Kristen. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Bye.